Over the course of 16 plus years teaching Madden at a high level, I've probably lost a little bit of the frame of reference for certain players and the things that they need to know to get to a level where some of the other tips here on this channel appeal to them. Now, don't get me wrong, my focus is pro level content, talking about what pros are doing and how to beat it. But I want to take time out of today's video to break down 10 things that will help you improve overnight. These are going to be things that sometimes I take for granted. Sometimes even I forget to fall back on these basics that can just dumb down the game to a level where it is so simple and you feel like you are just playing at a different level, playing more consistent and clean. So let's get it started with beating man-to-man coverage. Every single year, the number one thing you have to do when you open up the game is learn how to beat man-to-man coverage. The reason for this is that players don't really know how zone is coded every year. At the beginning of the year, it takes a little bit of time. So early in the year, you see a lot of man-to-man, whether it's two-man under, cover one, or cover zero pressure, and you have to have those man-to-man beaters in your arsenal. This helps you inform yourself on what playbook you want to choose. Now, we're going to focus specifically on a certain type of route here, but I will tell you up front, I am in the Seattle Seahawks offense, and there are plenty of other formations in the game or playbooks in the game that have this play whips. Whips and pivot routes are the best route for beating man-to-man in this game. It doesn't require any type of man beating ability. You simply could just snap the ball and know that these routes are going to be the most consistent for beating man and being able to get yardage after the catch. The best part about this play whips in the Seattle bunch tight end is that you have one to both the tight end and the inside receiver, which means that your opponent can only use one or the other. And that's going to make running man-to-man coverage a lot harder. They're going to have to start to play something a little bit more conservative or even switch to zone, which again, a lot of players don't want to be in. Now, the cool thing about whip routes in this game is that they don't always just break outside. There's also what is called a return route that you guys can utilize, and these routes break back over the middle. They're basically just the inverted version of a whip. And you'll see right here that Lockett is going to get that same beat animation on the man-to-man coverage. You could throw this over the middle and scoot up the field. You must utilize whips in your offense. If you guys need a hot route master or a master tactician or a slot apprentice, I recommend having one so you could hot route them on individual plays. As you see, hot routing doesn't provide the ability to put one on the field. So having a playbook where you have a bunch of these in stock plays is imperative for most competitive players. Now that you know how to beat man with the best man beating route in the game, let's talk about how to read zone coverage pre-snap. When we talk about coverage shells in this game, there are two different types of pre-snap look. There's what is called a single high shell, where you're going to have one safety in the middle of the field. And then you'll also have a two high shell where you will have two safeties. Generally speaking, when you have a single high safety, this indicates that they are playing cover one man coverage or cover three zone. When you have a two high defense, you are looking at either the cover two or a cover four style defense. This will help inform you on how to attack the coverages. Generally speaking, this is called middle of the field closed for a single high or middle of the field open for a two high defense. And you tend to throw away from where the safeties are going to be. So when you talk about a closed center field, you attack the perimeter. When you talk about an open center field, you typically attack the middle of the field. That'll just get you started with beating zone coverage. What's up, guys? Before I get to our next tip, I just want to say if you're enjoying the video, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell, drop a comment below. But if you guys want to get even better, if these tips blow your mind, there's so much more that you guys can learn on my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. As I've already said, I've been teaching this game at a high level for almost 16 years now, and I've been running my strategy website since 2020. If you guys want the best deal in the tip space, $9.95 a month will unlock everything on the website. That's everything I've done since the first snap of Madden 25 to today, and your membership includes everything that I continue to put on the website. $9.95 a month. Weekly updated vault contents focused on the pro meta. We're not talking a lot about pro meta in this video. We're talking about basic concepts. But if you guys want to learn a lot about what players are doing online, what players are mimicking, what the best players in the world are doing, the vault is going to teach you those things, how they work, and how to counter them. You guys will also be able to access all offensive and defensive game plans. These are fully fleshed out schemes with audibles, ability setups, personnel, audibles, everything that you need to make sure that you're moving the ball or stopping the most popular offenses in the game, all curated for you, taking the lab work out of it for you. And make sure you guys take a look at our Discord with over 2,000 members and free lab sessions. Those are worth 50, 60, $100 with pros for an hour. I offer lab sessions at no additional charge every single week in our Discord. You can come, ask questions about whatever's ailing you. We'll figure it out on the spot. And if we can't figure it, it'll be something that'll be figured out in short term and likely put into the vault to make sure that you guys are in a good spot moving forward. Make sure you guys go check it out. Now back to the video. The next one is arguably the most criminally slept on tip in Madden. Players don't even know this exists. And every single time I tell players that you can check this, they are mind blown. And it's been in the game for quite some time. Run fits basically show you that you have a second assignment, if you will, for your user, every player on the field really, for every single play. So when we pull up our play art, we're accustomed to just holding the right trigger and the right stick up, and that's going to show you all the coverage assignments. But believe it or not, there's a way to check your run fits. By simply holding the right trigger and then pressing X, it's going to draw lines from certain defenders towards the offensive line. These are called your run fits. So when you hold the right trigger and hold X, this shows you if they run the ball to the left side of the screen, where your user or where everyone is responsible for stopping the run. So you see right here, my user Cochran is responsible for the left A gap. If they were to run the ball to the right side, we would still hold the right trigger, but instead of X, we would hold B. And you see that on a run to the right, I need to get over to the right B gap. So this helps kind of educate you on if it's a run, you need to know where your hole is and you need to do your job. You oftentimes hear about Bill Belichick, and his mantra for his defense is do your job. Don't try to do too much. So often in this game, you see players that don't do their job and they try to do everything themselves. Well, if I jump the wrong run fit, now you see that where I was supposed to be is now wide open and we pick up positive yardage up the middle, and there was potential for a lot more. So utilize the run fit tip so that you understand where you're supposed to be if your opponent runs the ball. You have a coverage assignment and you have a run assignment as well. Let's go from a super slept on offensive tip to a super slept on defensive tip. Have you ever been in a situation where maybe you have no one open and you have no check down in the flat, so throwing the ball away would earn a penalty? Or maybe late in a ball game, there's 37 seconds left and your opponent has no timeouts, but you know that if you snap the ball with a 30-second play clock, there's a chance you're gonna have to punt the ball back to them. Well, there's a mechanic in this game that allows you to give yourself up Peyton Manning style. To do this, you're simply going to hold right and left triggers at the same time and click in the right analog stick, and your quarterback will lay down. This is really good when your opponent has a coverage sack. You don't want to take a hit and fumble. You want to keep the clock moving, but maybe you thought your opponent was going to run commit late in the game and you wanted to potentially throw a touchdown over the top. Or maybe you just want to run around and waste 7 or 8 seconds and buy as much time as possible, so that way you can still keep the clock moving, but you burn 10 plus seconds off the clock, and now you're punting the ball and they have no time left, or you could just watch the clock hit 0. Either way, this is such a great mechanic that not enough players utilize for time wasting or just not really taking a hit in the pocket when nobody is open. So again, both triggers and click in the right analog stick to do the Peyton Manning give yourself up animation. Start using this at the end of games. I promise you, you'll catch people run committing, and if they don't, you could just lay down as if you ran the ball. It's a wonderful tip. Our next tip, stopping corner routes with zone drops. It used to be that you had to set your flats to 25 or 30, but now you guys have the ability to set either your curl flat or your flat zone to 25 or 30. I'm going to show you both here in this example so you can see the types of defenses you're allowed to call to be able to get these coverage stops. So we'll start off here with a cover 3 sky. You're going to see here that we have this purple zone, this safety cook. And when he's set to 25 yards, you're going to see that he's going to be able to get out towards the sideline and guard a corner route to DK Metcalf. We snap the ball, he runs out to that 25-yard depth, and you see right there that it was basically covered. Now, depending on the formation alignment, how much space there is on the field, you may prefer to utilize a blue zone. This is something that is really, really important that you guys understand. If you do shade your coverage down to change your purples, they change into blues. This will allow them to also play that 30-yard depth or that 25-yard depth, and you'll see that they basically are going to run out to the outside. Now, there is something you need to be aware of when it comes to zone drops, okay? The spot on the field in which you are standing is very, very important for how slowly they turn around and run. You may have noticed that our 30 or 25-yard hard flat that was lined up here in the slot kind of did a little bit of a shuffle animation, and he didn't really turn and get out to the outside. This is important because you might think, oh, well, I'm playing the right defense, but at the end of the day, it simply did not work the way that you wanted it to. So what you may choose to do instead is make sure that your outside corner is the one that is playing that 25-yard depth. And that same assignment might actually turn and bail better out to that corner route, and you could get a better break on ball to that throw. Now, one of my favorite things that I would recommend you guys do, if you guys are trying to defend a corner route and you want to make sure at all costs that you guys are able to guard this, is set this to 30, the hard flat, and then play what is called an outside third over the top. This is going to make certain that you have the deep zone over the top in the event that the corner somehow gets behind the zone drop, but then it also is going to take away the down and outside throw that somebody might throw against an outside third. So this is called bracketing, and it's a really, really good way to be able to prevent your opponent from chucking a corner out. You know, at all costs, you see right here, up and away and down and away are both taken away on that particular play. Now, the other thing that I do want to talk about with this is outside corners. With outside corners, and just in particular, the hard flat assignment, you may notice that when you have your zone drop set, that you have certain speeds that they drop back. They might not drop back fast enough for your liking. So I want you to watch the cloud flats here in this example. I'm going to have both of them set to basically 25, and I want you to watch the difference in this rep versus the one that we're going to show you here in the next rep. You're going to see right there that they kind of shuffle, and you see that I was able to get behind them against this cover 2 defense and throw that. Now in our next example, I'm going to, instead of cloud flats, I'm going to change those guys to hard flats, and you're going to see that for whatever reason there is a different locomotion associated with that, and they just turn and they run. And you see how he got back further and took away that window that we were able to rip on the last example. So hard flats move faster than cloud flats, and they also do a little bit better job than purple zones as well. So when in doubt, if you want a zone that's going to consistently guard a corner out, please use a 30 or a 25-yard flat zone rather than a purple. And as it pertains to flats, choose the hard flat over the cloud flat. You'll thank me later. Now, playing off of that knowledge, let's talk about stemming routes to get them open regardless. So what we're going to do here is we are going to have that 30-yard blue. In fact, I'm going to put X on this 30-yard blue. I'm even going to back him up a little bit. One of the things that you may not know about this game that is super important if you're going to be decent at it is that you can change the depth of the break of pretty much every route in the game. There are some that you can't, but take, for instance, this corner route to Bobo. I don't really like that he's going to be running into that 30-yard setting that we have on defense. To change the break of his route, simply bring up the hot route menu, choose right bumper or the route that you want to change, and then you're going to hold the left bumper for custom stem. What that's going to do is that's going to allow you to tap the left analog stick up and down in increments of 1, or you could put the D-pad in increments of basically 3 to 5. And this could allow you to change the shape of a route. So imagine that we have that 30-yard setting and I want to throw something underneath of it on the sideline. Well, this might be a way that allows you to kind of throw the ball in underneath of it. And you see that that corner route is now open, even though our opponent was setting a zone drop that was intended to guard the corner route. So this can change the shape of the route and allow you to attack different areas of the field. This is also quite good for what it's worth for allowing yourself to beat coverages over the top. So as you can imagine, if I were to run a fork combo here against like a cover 2 shell, and I really want that deep post on the outside getting in between the safeties, you'll see here that having it break super late, you see how much room opens up, and then I'm able to kind of feather that in. So taking this up and down with the custom stem feature is one of the most important things that you guys need to master no matter what offense you run. Our next tip is going to be how to bomb cover 3 and cover 4. These are the two most prominent zone coverages that you're going to face online. So it's very, very important that you guys understand how to attack both of them. Now I'm going to show you one route combo that works against both here. And this is basically to call a trips formation to the wide side of the field. We're going to put our outside receiver on a comeback route, and we're going to put our inside receiver on a corner route. And we are going to custom stem the snot out of that corner route up. So it's super, super deep. What this is going to do is this is going to make it so that when the ball is snapped, you're going to see that the comeback route is going to pull down the outside deep zone, and the corner route is now one-on-one with the safety. So what you're going to see is this ends up opening up kind of this deep outside breaking concept, and with a better throw, we're able to feather this in. Now, that was against a cover 4. I'm going to show you the cover 3 here, and you're going to see that this is basically the exact same drill, but it's going to be even easier to throw. So with the comeback route and then the custom stem corner that we're going to take up a couple of D-pad clicks, we're going to be able to throw this over the top and outside of that outside third. So you see that pull down, and then I can throw this ball out and over the top. And you see right there that, again, that's basically a one-play score. Better rack animation into the end zone. We're looking at an easy touchdown. So if you guys need big yardage against cover 3 or cover 4, that is a great concept that you guys can use. Of course, there are so many others in the game that I would recommend you guys utilize as well. You guys should absolutely take a look at Gridiron Game Plans, which I've already mentioned here in this video, for more on how to beat all the coverages. You can take a look at my bunch tight end game plan. I've got bombs for every single coverage in the game, man beaters, etc., etc. But for beginners, this is a great starting concept. You guys are utilizing the custom stem feature, getting familiar with it, but also understanding a concept that could beat not one, but 2 different prominent coverages that you're going to face a lot when you go online. Our next tip is going to be how to turn off zone drops on the fly. I've done this a million times here on the channel, so I'm going to go through this really, really quick. You have zone drop set for flats, and maybe we call a cover 2 zone. When we break the huddle, we know that our zone coverage is setting those clouds to go to 30. And we know that if we were to set them to hard flats, they'll get to 30 quicker based off of the tip earlier in this video. But let's say that I want to turn those off. Maybe my opponent motions, maybe they audible, something that makes me decide I'm not worried about a corner route anymore. To turn off your zone drops, you're going to hit the audible button, and then you're going to click the left trigger, or L2 on PlayStation. This is going to take your zone drops and turn them off completely. So if you are playing a cover 2, it's going to play stock cover 2 rules. Same thing with cover 3. And then obviously cover 4, pay attention to whether or not it's match coverage or not, because when you reset zone drops in a match coverage play, you're now playing match instead of zone with zone drops on. So keep that in mind. A little bit of an extra pro tip here: to tell whether or not your zone drops are on, take a look at the depth of the flats in the play art. You see right here how far back those cloud flats are? That's the game telling you, hey, Zan, you've got zone drops set for this. Versus when they're off and I reset the play, look how they're closer to the line of scrimmage. A lot of players don't know this, but this is a great way to check whether or not your zone drops are on or off, is to basically reset your play. A pro tip for the pro tip: if you guys want to go back and forth between zone drops and no zone drops, you obviously know that with zone drops on, you reset the play to turn them off. But if you want to turn them back on, make sure the play that you broke the huddle in is in your audible set. So cover 2 drop, you audible into it fresh rather than resetting it again, and it turns them back on. So you could go between on, reset to turn them off, re-audible into the play to turn them back on, reset to turn them back off, re-audible into the play to turn them back on, and so on and so forth. You can basically turn them on and off as often as you want, as many times as you want. This is super useful, again, if your opponent motions, if they audible, if they flip, and you want to turn them on or off based off of your opponent's tendencies. Super important. You guys need to learn how to do this. And our final tip, and probably our most advanced tip, is rolling coverage. You have to know how to roll coverage in this game. Probably the best coverage to roll out of is going to be a cover 2 base. So we've done a lot of content here on corner routes, zone drops to stop them. We even talked about the outside third adjustment. Creating cover 3 cloud is one of the most important things you can do in this game. So what you want to do is base out of a cover 2. You're going to go up to your safety on the side that you think they're going to throw a corner route to, and change his adjustment to an outside third. This is going to give him better width to the sideline. It creates that bracket with the cloud flat and the outside third, so they really can't throw that corner route. But now, as a result, you can tell here that the middle of the field is wide open between the safeties. So what you want to do is you want to take your backside safety and change him to an inside third. This is going to close center field. But now you see, well, the deep sideline on the other side is wide open. So what do? We take that outside player and we change him to an outside third. Now you see, okay, well, now the flat's open. So what do? We take one of our hook zones and we put them into the flat. This essentially creates what is called cover 3 cloud. And this is a great coverage that's going to allow you to have lots of hook zones in the middle of the field, good flat support on both sides, almost like it's a cover 2 on one side, but it's a cover 3 over the top. It's a safe defense. You definitely need to make sure that you guys learn how to do this. And then also mix in switch sticking, because switch sticking in this game is super, super important. And you're going to have to learn how to do this. We've talked about it before in other videos. To switch stick, you will go ahead and flick the left analog or the right analog stick around your defense post snap to change who you want to guard. This allows you to use as many players as you want based off of how the route progression is developing. So I love this concept. One of the safest coverages in the game. This can win you games on its own, is the basically cover 3 cloud, and learn how to roll your coverage. If they flip and you want to roll it the other direction, you'll get really familiar with how to do this on the fly, and it'll just feel like muscle memory. You'll get to a point with this where you feel really, really good about it, and you'll basically learn how to roll the coverage left or right. Really, really important that you guys learn how to do this. Arguably the safest coverage in the game, and one of the best at stopping what most players like to do. So those are 10 tips to get better overnight, ranging from super beginner to maybe a little bit more intermediate. But these are things that really at the end of the day will win you games. It'll take you to a level that, yeah, maybe you're not talking about pro level blitzes or their counters or some really intricate custom stem route combinations. Those are all going to be on Gridiron and other videos here on the channel. But these 10 tips, I assure you, will help you guys immediately, if not sooner. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys give the video a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with our next YouTube upload. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab in. Good luck.